Alright guys and gals, right here I'm going to show you how I go about siding over this roof. What happens is this thing is basically like a big horseshoe, and the siding over here is going to go up and over the peak down the other side of the roof, and it's got to connect with the other side over here, and that goes all the way down over there too. So this is a tricky situation where you have to meet up exactly perfect over top of this peak right here, and it's not very easy to do, so I figured I'd do another video on how to do that. Now this roofer, when he cut this back, he left that tie vec or the tie par too low, so when I put my J channel on, it's going to poke out below the J channel, so I need to cut this back so it's not going to show. Alright, I'm going to pause this, I'm going to get that done, and I'll show you how I get the J channel run. And actually the first thing I'm going to do is get level lines going all the way up and down the other side before I do anything. That's what I'm going to do. So I'll be back when I'm ready to go with that. Alright, we have the tie par all stapled back down. It's cut so it's not going to be sticking out underneath the J channel. And now I'm going to show you how to carry this layout up and across the roof. I got my 2-foot level, and I'll also show you how I take care of having a piece of flashing there to kick the water from the roof out to the outside of the siding. Because what happens when it rains is the water doesn't go straight down the roof, it seeks a level plane, which is also this way. So what happens, the water fans out as it goes down the roof, and it ends up collecting on this step flashing. These are little 5-inch by 7-inch pieces, and it kind of just rolls down every piece, and it will just come down right here and run down this tie par. A lot of times you'll even see the tie par is not underneath that last piece of step flashing, which is why a lot of walls right here underneath a roof edge, like in this situation, will rot out. It'll rot out that whole thing, and it even can get as far as into the studs. I've taken a chisel and pushed it like halfway into a stud before, because this detail right here is basically the linchpin. It is the most crucial thing on these areas. Over there you can see we have a little tail sticking out to deflect that water out away from the inside of the wall. Got a little white nail hanging up there, and a nail on the roof. Try not to leave nails on the roof because they'll sink down eventually. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start marking this out. I want to do all this before I get my soffit in. That way I can get up in there. So I'm going to lay this out for siding right now. What I want to do is go up as high as I can. I want to need to make sure that my tape is running level, going straight up. So I'm going to mark 24 because that's on an 8-inch increment. So I hooked on that clip there where the bottom of the next piece of siding is going to be, and going up straight 24. And now hopefully I can get my level on this. Yeah. Yeah, I really had to peel that tie bar up and straighten out the ice and water that's underneath it. It was way too bubbly. It was a really uneven surface, so it would have been really hard to use my level on it. So it would have just been rocking all the way, rocking all around on me. So right there, I want to make sure I'm right on with that bottom of the level. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this around. The reason why I do that is so that if there's any small variations in that level where the bubble's not exactly perfect, it'll go down, it'll go back up, down, down, up, down, up, and I won't be compounding an error in that level. If it's off in one direction and I just keep going that way, by the time I get to the end I could be, I don't know, an inch off. Even if the level is only off by 1/16 of an inch, I could still be off by an inch if I use the level 16 times going across there. So you definitely want to be careful of that. And you don't want to get a cheap level, because if I posted the other videos where we tested out Roger's like $15 or $20 Home Depot special, that thing was already off by 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this right on 16, and I'm just, you can't really see it, but I'm putting my pencil right on top of that, and just like that. And I want to make sure that the top of the tape is seated in, because that has play to allow for this thickness of the end of the tape there. Alright, so I got that mark. Unfortunately, it's in a black spot on the tie bar. I think I can see the edge of it right there. I'm making sure that it's perpendicular. Another thing that happens if I go like this, I can make sure I go with the highest point, and that'll let me know that I'm not running my tape crooked or anything. And I can actually kind of guess at this too and then double check it. So I know it should be right about here. And then it's really hard to get myself in there. Alright, so we have to make sure that's in. And yeah, it looks like I'm right on with that mark. So we're going to keep doing that all the way up and then down the other side. So if you want to fast forward, I don't think I have much to add to this. So you can feel free to fast forward or stick around. I might think of something. Okay. You gotta make sure you don't accidentally mark the wrong side of the level. I've done that before. So like I said, spinning the level around again. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, if you're not confident that you can hold your tape perpendicular to that mark, you can always take a torpedo level or something and make a plumb mark going up. That way you're sure that you're heading straight up which it's it is quite difficult here. This is one of the more difficult situations I've run into. I'm just gonna take a guess at that. Right on. That was the 16th high, it looks like. Yeah. Okay. Right there. I'm just gonna try to get a better sight on this. It looks like it's still too high. I gotta get a good perspective on this thing. Okay, it looks like I'm heading perpendicular now. Yeah. Right there. It's still a little bit high, so I'm gonna drop it down just a smidge. And I mean, I'm trying to be right on, but if I end up a tiny bit off, I can stretch the siding out or I can shrink it back. Look at that. Roofer put a shiner. That's gonna rust eventually. Can't do that. That nail's way too low. It's gonna cause rust streaks down this roof. Oh boy, goodness. Okay. Right there. And as long as I get my siding right on a 8-inch increment at any point of this line and my siding is running level, then I know that I'm right on. These are the kind of things that I always dread doing, just because it's so hard to get in here. I'm trying to contort my arms to get in here. Okay. It is much easier to do this now, right now, that there's not soffit and metal on this outside. Hopefully I can get up 2 feet this time. Nope. Looks like I'm going 16 inches at a time. And once again, I'm just going to take a stab at this. Looks like about 1/2 inch up in that H there. A little bit low right there. Okay, we're getting there, guys. I can't remember if I spun this around. I'll just do it again if I did. Okay. And make sure I'm looking straight on with that level, because if I'm not looking straight on, then I might not be right on with those lines, because it looks like the bubble is closer to this line if I'm looking from this way. So I'll make sure I'm nice and square with it, looking straight at it. Okay, we're looking good right there. Feel the burn. And right there. I just wanted to run this out as far as I could. Okay. And depending on where I'm going with that line, I'm gonna either push this all the way in or pull it all the way out. I've been generally just pushing it all the way in and running it right with that edge there. It's kind of hard to explain. I think it's right there. I can't hold my tape and mark it and squeeze myself in there at the same time. Okay, that's looking pretty square with that. And it's right on right there. Ooh. Once this is all leveled across, I can put the level away and I can just measure to that line. Right there. That's pretty, you can see how it's pretty important to have a flat surface to work with. This Tyvek is a little bit wrinkly and that does change like the line. It kind of moves the line around a little bit when you press on it. So need a nice clean flat surface to work off of, and that's pretty good. It's gonna produce a pretty good result. Oh man, I can't get in there. Okay, just wanted to extend this over, so I just go plain with that. That's good. One more time and then we're off down the other side. And 16 inches, it's about right here. That'll get us over the peak. Right there, it's right on. Okay, I was a little bit low with that mark. Right there. All right, we're heading down the other side. Boy, my eyes are deceiving me on this one. Looks like I'm heading way uphill. Okay. With vinyl, this is actually really important that we come over this peak right on. If we were doing wood or fiber cement, you could be up to a 1/4 inch off and it wouldn't really matter. The reveal would change a little bit. With vinyl, you have to be able to clip it in. And you can't really bend vinyl either, because then you'll cause oil canning. I want to drop that thing on, Roger. So I'll leave it there for now. Oh, I can actually kind of get in here with both arms. See if I go with that line to the outer edge at the end of the tape. make sure I push that in. If I go with the inner edge of the end of the tape, I'll pull it out, and it's the same. Okay. I ain't as young as I once was. It was never fun when I was 16 either. Okay. Let's see, where are you? Right there. And that block is right all up in my business. And I think that's gonna happen all the way down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move that 8 inches up. And then hopefully, ow, ooh, okay. Hopefully those blocks won't interfere anymore all the way down. Okay, 8 inches. I can't, my arm don't bend like that way. I don't understand how I'm supposed to do this. Whew. Okay, there we are. Oop, I dropped down. It's all right, we got the part that matters. Okay. There. Yep. It's mint. Oh, some kind of contortion going on here. Okay. Yep, it's still good. And we want to be right on within an 1/8 inch when we come over top of this peak. There, I remembered to spin it. Otherwise that top piece of siding won't be clipped down. And I've seen this quite a bit with less experienced people that not really sure what they're doing, where I've seen people come over a peak and they're over 1 inch off, and the whole bottom piece of the siding, the whole clip isn't even clipped in on one side. And really, it just does not look good. So this is the important step that you need to do, is there's no guarantee starting, even though we're starting 1 inch down from top of foundation on the front and on the back, there's no guarantee that it's going to match up on the peak, depending on how hard you pull up on the siding. You might be stretching it out, or you might be letting the pieces sag down a little bit. So it's a very important step, carrying this layout all the way down to there where he's already got a few pieces on, and we can work that out. We can stretch them up a little bit or let them sag a little bit so we can hit this line, because we know that line is right on, or it's pretty close anyways. Okay. Right there. 16 is down on the step flashing. I think about right there. That one's hard to see. Yep. That's looking pretty good. We're running pretty perpendicular to that line. I'm doing my best to be right on, but if there's tiny variations, I'll be able to work them out. Okay. And where'd my mark go? Oh, I think that's it right there. I can't use the top of the level, so I gotta get where I can see the bottom. Right there. And that's gonna hit that block again. Boom, boom. Okay. And then it's too much at an angle that way. I have to move it up 8 inches again. Oh, okay. Right about here. Yep. Ooh. This is not awkward at all. Alright, so I have all my F channel, all the J channel that I'm gonna need for all of this, both sides. And I have my soffit catcher. And so we're gonna get all this on, and I'll show you how I handle the little kick out piece there, which isn't technically up to the standards set by the VSI. I don't think it is anyways, but it works just fine for me. And I like the way that it looks. You know, the same detail I did over there, I'll show you how I do that. So we have 12 inches. I'll also probably show you how the VSI says to do the kick out piece. Not entirely sure because I haven't researched it. But I've seen other plans, specifically for fiber cement, that call for this detail that I'll show you. So I want to make sure I have a 1/2 inch there, and then I'm going to leave a little tail on this, and I'm going to cut the bottom leg off there, and that'll cover that end of the soffit. That's why I called it a soffit catcher. Some things, I guess, you have to invent names for if there's no name for it. Right there, and that's gonna go, that's the thickness of the soffit right there. Usually I'll mark a 1/2 inch right there, but I've done enough. My eyeballs are pretty good. What's up?
Say something?
Oh, I'm just talking to the voices on my head again. That's a little bit too thick.
At least they're not voices in your head.
Yeah, I know. When they start talking back, then I probably should go see somebody. Okay, right there, that'll cover the end of the soffit. Oh yeah, this one doesn't have anything to nail to. I could have bent a little tab out here and then I could have nailed it that way, but it's not going to go in any further than that soffit underneath will allow it to go, that soffit. So that's as far as it'll go, and that's why we made sure to run that soffit out far enough where it would stop this from going too far that way. So you look at this, I actually have 11 1/4. It's actually pretty short. I'm starting to wonder if that's all the way in. It is. Huh. What is going on? 11 1/4, that's way too far out. Wonder if his soffit is twisted. So that's gonna flare our siding out at the end. I'm gonna take and sight up that wall and see if it looks like it's kicked way out. Oh yeah, it is. If I get in plane with that wall, I can see that that end of that thing is kicked way to the right. I don't know what's going on, but it's not right. And I'm pretty sure, oh yeah, no, it's hitting it. I can feel it. So I'm gonna have to trim that soffit. I might be able to pop that out. Nope. Alright, well, I'll come back when I get this situation rectified. All I need to do is I need to taper this soffit here. It actually looks like it's kind of measuring different there. Yeah, 3 3/8 to 3 3/4. So that first piece of soffit is twisted this way. So, alright, I'll be back. Okay, so I got that thing set where I want it now. It's just about at 12 inches. So it matches all the way up there. It's not going to kick our siding out at the end. Making sure it's resting down on top of that. And yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, so now we're going to run our F channel first, and we'll do our sticks of J channel. And again, I'll show you how I handle the kick out piece and how pretty close to what they say you're supposed to do as well for a kick out piece, to make sure that your wall never rots out. I'll clean this thing up a little bit. Okay, not my best snip. Oh, and I'm just making it uglier. Okay, I think that'll work. Just gotta cut that a little bit more to match. As long as it matches and it's not just some wiggly cut, that's gonna look all right. Okay, Almost. Yep, that's good. Alright, so I'm going to turn the corner with this thing. We'll cut it like that. And then right along this bottom edge here. Give that a little bend up. A little crease there. And this piece is going to go just like this. Oh, hopefully I didn't readjust you guys. It's going to go just like that. And that's diving way in. Why is it doing that? Is their fascia board doing that? And I just matched their fascia. It does bow a little bit. Thing's kind of all over the place. It's going to be hard to get that F channel to sit all the way in. Okay. Either way, I'm lining up this edge here, that point with the bottom there. And I'm gonna staple it in the middle of the slot, that way I can adjust it a little bit as I need to. Right there. And I'm just going right on those blocks. Could chalk a line for this if the framer stuff is all over the place. Okay. I should still be able to move this, hopefully. Make any micro adjustments I need to. Okay. Oh, it's still right on. So I'm going to cut this tail off. I didn't need to go quite as big as I did. And flex this right up in there. And for whatever reason, that doesn't want to go tight. So I don't know what the deal is with this end here, but it's a little funky. It wants to sit right at 11.5. Okay. J-channel. I'm gonna cut myself a piece so I can use it to trim out all this. And I like to make a little slice in it so it can slip inside that inside corner. So from the center point back to the nail fin, just like that. And I'll leave about maybe 1.5 inches past that mark. So I can make a 45 there. I want to make sure I go a little bit more in with that cut because I don't want it to be sticking proud of the fascia, because that'll hold the next piece out. Okay. Whoops. I wanted that. And this guy is going to go this way. So I need to make sure that the back of it isn't sticking past the front. Okay, just like that. And this is the same way I've always done 45s. And it looks like this piece won't be big enough to do the next little one. I'm going to save it to make our kick out piece. Okay. Now this is something that somebody else showed me, actually Roger's brother, and I didn't know this for years, but live and learn, you know. So here we go, we have a little angle piece, and I'm going to cut this to a point. And so that's basically a mirror image of what you see just poking out on the bottom there. So this guy is going to go underneath the last piece of step flashing. So it's basically a continuation of the step flashing, and then it's going to go on top of the siding, or the siding is going to go behind that. So in the winter time, or when it's raining a lot, you'll see water running down the face of the siding here, and that means that this little kick out piece is doing its job. What I also like to do is cut that shingle back a little bit so that my J isn't like coming way back at an angle right there. So just enough for the J channel. I'm not going up any further than the drip edge. I'm just making a little notch for the J channel. Okay, now you'll be able to see the J channel should be able to go right up in that little notch. Alright, there's a piece already cut, and maybe about this long. And now I'm going to make my adjustable angle right there. And I'll take out that rolled part right there. So now we have an adjustable angle again. And I'm just kind of doing this by sight and feel. I think I like the way it's sitting about right here. So with the top of the J on this side, I'm going to leave a little flap down there. And then I'm going to mark this where I know it's going to be out of the way for that last piece of kick-out flashing, because that kick-out flashing needs to run through where that trough currently is. Okay, I'll just leave this nail fin on here on this part, so I got more to nail to. Alright, I like to squeeze that back in because I do deform it when I bend it out so much. I'll put that in nice and tight right there. Okay, now I'm going to show you like pretty much what they say to do is pretty close, I think. And this piece will be probably a little bigger than what I'm showing right here. So I have this, I think usually it'd be 2x2 or 3x3 piece of metal. And what you want to do is you go ahead and bend it like this, and what that does now is when you put this underneath the last piece of step flashing, I already put my J in the way, but you just slip that up underneath there. Maybe I can get it in there to show you. It wants to be under the tie vac too. You get it up and underneath there, and what it's going to do is it's going to kick all that water out and actually get it away from the wall so it's not running down the wall. To me, that's just pretty ugly, so I don't like to do that. And obviously you flatten that out more, and then you'd have to side like up and over it and try to make those joints look nice and pretty. And yeah, I just never liked the way it looked, so I don't do it that way. What I do instead, which a lot of siders don't do, they don't do either of that, is put this guy right up in there like that, and then like I said, it just goes up on top of the siding. So yeah, looks a little nicer. So we got this piece here. This is going to overlap the other one. I'm going to cut out the whole nail fin and the trough, and I'm only leaving the face on, and that's so the siding can go behind that kick out piece. This roof has a nice bow to it. And once again, VSI calls for a, I think, 1-inch gap underneath the J channel, which I also don't like the way that looks, so I don't do it. They say it's for heat transfer from the roofing shingles to the J channel, which will cause the J channel to distort. So they claim. I haven't seen it. I can't say it doesn't happen. Okay, so right there. So if you wanted to, you could take and put a piece of 1-inch blocking against the roof and then rest your J channel on top of that. Another thing that kind of does sometimes is it actually helps take out some of the wiggles in the roof. It kind of just planes everything together with the, because it'll bridge those smaller gaps, whereas J-channel will just flex to it. Okay, so I got that on. And you don't want to staple all the way down to the bottom because you're going to lock this thing in place. And you want to be able to adjust that just a little bit for when you put the siding in. Okay, so right there, 14.5 from that point to there. And I already know that this is an 8 pitch. .5. So I know an 8 pitch is going to read out 56 degrees on my square here. Right there. And right there. I'm going to leave this all together, and I'll be able to turn that corner with this. And again, I want to go a little bit in with that back side. I don't want to be proud of the front, so that's also going to mess things up. And I squeeze both the front and the back inside of the bottom piece. That way when you're looking up from underneath, you don't see any edges. Now on the other side, I did take out this rolled hem, so it wasn't like opened up right there. So I'll do the same thing on this side. I usually don't do that, but for some reason I felt compelled to do it right there. Okay, that's the one I cut the shingles with. And you can be a little bit liberal with this because it is hidden. Alright, it just looks a little bit nicer that way, without that rolled hem. Okay, we're right on with the bottom there. Can go down a little bit. I think that soffit will kind of hold it down. I'm gonna try to slide it up just a little bit. There we go. I like it. And now I'm gonna cut out the trough here and make a little flap that'll go down inside that corner. I can notch the trough out that way and there, or I can go straight down, which is what I usually do, just like this, and then I fold the whole flap down. Like that. I overbend it a little bit, and there we are. Okay, so I actually managed to staple this right there, and then I reached around and bent those legs of the staple, and now it's holding that tight together, so you won't look underneath there and see much of a gap ever. So we're gonna finish off this F channel and J channel, and then we'll get on to putting the soffit up. If I can angle my way in there. That's what's nice about having a staple gun. You don't have to, it's easier to get into tighter spots. You don't have to try to hold the nail at the same time. Okay. Oh, something's a little off there. I think it's okay though. Okay. Gets 1,000 times harder to hold a nail where you can't reach something. And once again, this staple gun is not up to what they require for siding, but I've been using it for years to do trim. I haven't had any problems. Okay. I need a... I guess I'll do one at a time. I'm not going to try to grab everything I need. One thing at a time. Got the J channel. Ooh. Try to make sure it's gonna be, well, you know what, I'll do a flat piece on this one too, like I did over there. I don't know if you can see that. I'll cut the trough out to there, and I'm gonna make sure I have an overlap down here. Do our slip joint again. So I'm gonna go about an inch past my mark. And just put that in there. There's that slip joint again. And we're running this up high, and we'll cut it off later. Oops, I don't know where that went. There it is. Nope, still there. Oh well. It'll fall down in the springtime maybe. Okay, making sure that notch is far enough down, but not so far down that it looks stupid. Other thing you could do is take a piece of brake metal and put a hem on the bottom if you wanted to maintain your gap under the J channel like they call for. Take a piece of brake metal and double up a hem on the bottom and then you can nail up higher and then lift your J up a little bit, you know, either put a piece of J against the roof as a spacer, that will be 1 inch, or measure it out and chalk a line even. That way you could have your J channel nice and straight on the roof edge, and that would probably look pretty nice to do it that way. So that's a recommendation. I'm not sure that, again, that would be per install instructions, but I can't imagine that would cause any problems as long as you didn't nail too low down. Start nailing too low down in the step flashing, then you run into problems. Okay. I'm feeling where that trough is right now with my fingers, and right there should be good. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. A little bit more silver than I wanted showing right there, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Okay. They probably will be able to see that out that window. Like I said, it just dives down so much right there. And this thing is way big, so get rid of some of that on both sides. And I'm just eyeballing in with that front snip right there, all the way to the back. And that just goes inside of that rolled hem. Force that out so it's on the outside of the bottom one. And this stuff's pretty flexible, so you can kind of manipulate it like that. Okay. Ah, goodness. That's pretty bad. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take a piece of J-channel or siding, and I'm actually gonna slip it in behind there just to make that all white. Like I said, I don't want to force that J down right there. And the way the roofer installed that step flashing would make me do something pretty funky right there. So I'm gonna have to pull those staples, and I'll get a scrap of siding and slip it underneath there. Okay. Now I'll do some F channel. Get it running down the other side. I can actually now put a few of these pieces in my ladder here, so I don't have to keep coming down to get it. Okay. really uptight, and I'll just trim it as I need to. Okay, looks like the top is good. The bottom leg can be trimmed a little bit. So I want the bottom legs to line up from the other side to this side. Okay, it's looking good. Get that stable gun. Falling over. Okay. Ooh. Somebody just rolled in. Everything's uncomfortable. Okay, somebody just rolled in, so I didn't want to record them. And like I was saying, hopefully these bottom legs line up now. He didn't scream, so it must not have hit him. Okay. Yep, those bottom legs are lining up well. You guys get to hear what it's like when I'm really uncomfortable. Try not to complain too much, but okay. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and fast forward, it's probably gonna take me another half hour, and I'm just gonna be me stapling on this stuff the same way I already did, just pretty much a mirror image. Oh, I got stuff falling out of my bags. Make sure I don't lose it. I think, where'd they go? Yep, right there. Ooh. Come on, let go. There we go. Don't want to drop things. Not with Roger underneath me. Okay. Yeah, so it's going to be the same as the other side over here. Just like I said, mirror image. So it might take me another half hour. You can stick around if you want. Maybe I'll tell a story, I don't know. Okay. Okay. And one more piece of J-channel. Well, shoot. Well, I guess the snow will hold it for me. It usually doesn't fall down. There. You stay there. Okay, now it's clean. And I'll actually measure that out so I can just keep that joint together. And I'll do an adjustable angle at the top, just like I did down below. You see that? F channel's a little sloped. So I'm gonna measure it tight and I'm gonna add probably 1/2 inch. Oop, come on. You get in there. This is not awkward at all. Okay, 51. 51 inches. And I'll make my, whoa, the thing, how do you have so much ice and snow? Okay. It's gonna be fun trying to find all those scraps. They're all white. Oh, come on. I'm struggling today. Okay, there we go. So 51 was actually a little small, so I'll go like 51 1/4. Okay. And we'll do the same adjustable angle. I actually got made, like when I first did this, the guy I was working with, I was pretty young. I was probably 17, and the guy I was working with actually made fun of me. Thought it was a dumb idea to do something like that. Why don't you just make 2 pieces faster? I said, no, it's not. It's held together nice when you do a corner like that too. It never comes apart. So whatever. Little disagreement. Ain't no big thing. No. I'm probably just gonna try to get the, hopefully get it all trimmed out and get the fascia on. So yeah, I don't think I'll be cutting any siding today. Yeah, I'll probably stay till 5.
Okay, yeah, I'll put the saw away then. That's one less thing you gotta do later.
Yes, sir.
It's not worth, I didn't have much scraps to clean up, and it's not supposed to be snowing right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine.
Now I don't have to worry about dropping things.
What's that?
Now I don't have to worry about dropping things on your head. I heard my crimpers, they fell out of my pouch earlier. I was like, I heard a little heard them sliding down the roof a little bit. It's like,
at least I was up high enough under the eave where it probably would have been.
yeah, I probably would have skipped right over you.
Yeah, we got 3 more pieces, well 2 pieces and a rip left, and then the soffit metal on this wall, and then it's done.
Man, we'll be on the back wall before we know it.
Like you said before, we're gonna set up staging anyway.
Right. Well, there we're not gonna stage because
stage, but we're gonna have to reach the top somehow.
yeah. Well, it'll probably be with these things that I'm standing on right now.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't see it worth standing on the top of an 8-foot step ladder, rickety.
Yeah, no, that's not safe. They're, man, these guys with their step flashing, they don't push them tight against the roof.
They just slap it on.
They slap it on, they leave it up a 1/2 inch off like the plywood. This roof right here, it's wiggling up and down like 1/2 inch probably.
Wow.
I don't know. Whatever.
Aren't you supposed to kind of put a little bend in it so it's more of a 90?
Yeah, you put a nice, if you squeeze them nice and tight, like I fold them all the way over.
Yeah.
And then flatten them out. Well, now you have a nice crease, and you make sure you push it right into that plywood in the roof. The plywood on the roof and the plywood on the wall.
They don't want to spend the 2 extra
And just
minutes to
bing
flatten
bing.
it out.
It doesn't take any extra time. No, it doesn't take extra time. If you're skilled at what you're doing,
That's true.
I probably would have shingled this faster than those guys.
If you focus on quality, quantity comes after.
Yeah.
You can have quantity and quality.
Oh well.
Oil well, huh?
Yeah. What you gonna do? Can't take their step flashing off. Not gonna get paid for that. Anywho. Yes, sir. See you on the morrow. Oh, there goes my tape. Okay. Yeah, that's all stapled all the way up. And I just need one more piece of F channel and one more piece of J channel. I can probably put them in my ladder and have them poking up. I'll roll that around and get that behind there. There we go. I am a bendy person. And I know it seems like it's taking forever, and it feels like it is too, but it's amazing how quickly it finishes up once you have all this done. Like, oh, once you go fill in the pieces, it's just bing bang boom, done. You're all done. You're like, whoa. Never mind. I thought it took forever, but that's it. Alright, so I need one piece of F channel and what did I say? 2 pieces of J. I have one there, so I need one more. Actually, I'll use that metal to flash out the, not flash it out, but to make it white up at the peak there, like I was saying I was going to do. Yeah, Roger showed up way before me, so he's going to work on a different job now. He's got his own job going too. Okay, I do need this for the other side too. I bent a special piece soffit catcher. It just has the same 1.5 inch leg that all the other metal has, but it's a little, I don't know, whatever. I don't know what I was gonna say, but okay. I actually don't need to probably worry about taking any of those staples out. I think I can get this in there. So I bend a piece to get started, and then all the scraps from the other metal will probably work to, if I cut the top off, it'll work to do soffit catchers. I can make them work because I'll have like a little 1 foot piece left over. Okay, I think that's probably gonna look pretty good from inside there. I'm hoping anyways. Okay. I'll go ahead and put this guy on first here. Get that thing out of the way. Oh. Sounds like the outhouses are getting cleaned out. Should have a lovely smell wafting my way in a little bit. Well, at least it's not summertime. Okay, so same thing that happened on the other side. We'll see if it happened over here. 11 3/4. I think that's pretty good. It's gonna work out all right. All right, so hooking the outside of the fascia, 12 inches. I can go a little short on 12, as long as it's on top of the corner, past right there, an 1/8 inch. It's okay. Okay. Yeah, I said a half hour. I don't know if half hour's already expired, but I'll go 11 3/4, and I'll go my 1.5 inches there. And I'm just gonna guess at everything else. This side they didn't put any plywood for me to nail to here either. A lot of times they'll carry this plywood here will carry all the way down there, and I can nail this top leg to that. It's a lot nicer when they do that, and they did do it on some of these parts, some of this house here. I think they did it there, but I guess it's just the way their plywood landed. It didn't work out that way down here. So like I was telling Roger, that's kind of why I got accustomed to leaving that tail on there, so I got something to nail it to. And again, just making sure it's on top of the corner, and we're good to go. Alright, now I'll do F channel, and then I'm just going to J out this, and same thing again here. I'll cut this out of the way so my J can slip behind it. And I spin that knife blade around, so I only have to ruin one side of my knife blade. The knife blades don't really like asphalt very much. And go a little further. I do not like cutting towards my fingers. I gotta be careful I don't cut into the house wrap right there. Okay, that's good. Now you can see they nailed that thing up already. They got a nail in it right there, and that sucker's, oh man, that's a 1/2 inch up off the drip edge. And that's just how they did it, and they think it's gonna look nice. I guess they don't really care. Just slap them in there, get it done as quick as you can. Everybody's on time constraints. Everybody's trying to feed their family, try to get the job cheaper than the next guy. Builders want to save a penny as much as they can, and that's what you end up with. Overall, today's construction, oops, bye-bye tape. Today's construction is better. It's better than a lot of things that have been built, guys. I've seen people post all the time like, oh, they don't make them like they used to and all this stuff. It's like, you know what, all this stuff is watertight. It allows air to flow. Like, these things are engineered, guys. Like, they're houses being built now are good quality houses. There might be, you know, a little bit details that aren't very great, but these things they're built to last. Back in the day, you know, they used wood siding because that's what they had. And then the wood rots out, and you know, it's like these, a lot of the things they just slap together. Houses built in the 50s are just terrible. I've worked on them. Some of them are nice, but I've seen 2x8 floor joists notched halfway through, spanning 16 feet, and people are wondering why their floors are spongy. It's like, my goodness. Okay. Now we have codes, whereas back then they didn't really have very strict codes. I don't know if they had any codes. They got back from the war and they wanted to have a family and have a house and live the American dream. And I can't fault them for that. I don't know what they went through. But a lot of them weren't very good builders. The greatest generation. Apparently I have some of them probably watching my videos. That's pretty cool. I don't know. I wouldn't say they're not very good builders. Just the practices that they knew just weren't very good. I've had to adjust my mindset through the years. I used to get really upset when people would do bad work, and I'm still not too happy about it when I see it. But when you consider everybody's trying to feed their family and they're doing the best they can, the best they know how, like, all right, well, as long as people know what they're getting when they hire them, hopefully they do. Your average homeowner might not know. But generally you get what you pay for. One thing that I've seen time and time again when it comes to hiring contractors is it's always the guys. Now, I'm not saying that this is the case all the time, but it's usually the guys that ask for a draw up front. They say they want 50% of the money just to hold their place or to put you in their schedule. A lot of times those are the people that end up taking homeowners for a ride. I have never required money up front to hold somebody's place. The only time I ask for money is when materials show up at their house. I say, okay, you see the materials now, you know, and I'll even show the bill. I don't care. The materials cost $8,000, so I want to check for 10 grand when I'm starting, or 8,000. when the material's on site. I have heard of people doing that and then coming back and picking up the materials and just leaving. They kept doing that. They just go from house to house to house, just saying, oh yeah, hey, materials are there, give me $5,000. So the homeowner would do that, and then the next day the material's gone, and then the guy never shows up. So I mean, you know, if people wanna screw you over, yeah, they can do it any number of ways. So probably the best thing to do is just check word of mouth. Word of mouth is very important. And be very cautious about giving anybody money before they do anything at your house. That actually happened to my own brother. My goodness, I cut that thing way too short. I guess I'll try again. There we go. I thought I had it plenty long. I was gonna cut off like, I was gonna cut off like 4 inches at least. So yeah, just be careful when you hire somebody. Don't just hand over money. Don't assume that a contract is gonna help you. In fact, a lot of my jobs, they're just handshake deals. I don't even write anything up. I'll send a text with the price, and that is a contract, but alright. Hopefully I got the rest. I think I got more than I need. Stay. Ooh, get in there. Okay. The metal is going to be the easiest part of this, I feel like. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I just jinxed myself. I can't really see what I'm doing hardly. So I like really crouch down. Alright. Oh, that is pretty doggone crooked. At least I need to pull down that joint on the F channel. That thing just like bows way up. Ugh. Okay. I mean, sometimes you might have to chalk a line for your F channel. Usually I don't have to, but I feel like these framers actually not too impressed. At first I thought they did a good job because their house wrap looked pretty nice, but then you look down this fascia and it goes, it's bowing this way and it's bowing out too, and it's just hard to make fascia metal look nice on something like that. So it tends to want to bubble. Alright. So we gotta move this joint down right here a little bit. It'll help things out. See if I can figure out where those staples are. That didn't even move it at all. Oh, I need to do this one too. And staple the end of that one. Man. Okay. I'll pull that staple. There we go. And this thing is, it's got to get moved down a little bit. It could also be that it's not all the way flexed in, but I'm pretty sure it's not very good. So I'm going to move it down. Oh, another staple. Okay. Okie dokie. Alright, that's down a little bit. And that's down. Yeah, those are good. Okay. So what happens on these that makes them really crooked is the framers use a crooked rafter for their gable end. They put a rafter that has a big bow in it, and then they just set all their blocks right to the top of that bowed rafter. And so then their fascia follows the blocks, and so then everything turns out crooked. What I do when I frame is I set aside the straightest rafters. As I'm going along, I set aside them, and then I use those on the gable ends. And I use the more bowed ones in the field, which would be like anywhere in the middle of the roof. That way your fascias turn out a lot straighter. And it doesn't take any extra effort, you just do it as you go. Or if you just want to install them however, you know, whatever one you want to use, just chalk a line for your blocks. And then your blocks will be straight, and those are going to want to pull this board straight. And it's hard to find straight lumber nowadays though too, so I hardly feel like I can say anything. The last house I framed, I kept setting aside pieces. It's like, oh, I don't like that one, I'll set it aside. And pretty soon I ran out of options. It's like, well, got nothing left to use. I guess I have to use the crooked ones now. It's hard to make a straight fascia board when your 2x6 is bowed 1.5 inches. It's gonna want to pull those blocks around on you, start to tip them back and forth. So I do recognize there's only so much you can do sometimes, given the time frame that you've allotted. This little roof right here was a surprise. The builder told me, yeah, same as the last one you did. Well, the last one, this roof right here was down to this level, so the roof just carried right across. So this little wall area, this fascia, all this soffit, all that stuff wasn't there. So I was like, well, it is technically the same design, but in reality it's a little different. Okay. For some reason it seems like things slowed down for me on YouTube. Like, I'm not getting as many impressions as I was like a month ago. Kind of weird. Guess there's an ebb and flow to that too. I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. I'll keep on posting videos. Because I think I have useful knowledge for people to see or hear, whatever. Ooh. Bumping the camera around. Okay. I should probably like pretend like I'm ambidextrous right now. I think I could get the staple gun on there a little better somehow. Yeah, whatever. Nope, I'm not. I'm not gonna pretend. I don't really ever want to sound like my way is the only way, guys. Like, I recognize for a lot of things, there's a lot of ways to do it. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but like a lot of these details, like the little kick out piece there, I mentioned putting a piece of metal on to cover up that step flashing. It's like, these are all methods, somebody thought these things up, and there's the letter of the law and there's the spirit of the law, and as long as it's accomplishing the same task, to me, it's fine. there's always gonna be those, almost always, there's gonna be unforeseen events where something went wrong somehow, and then it takes like some effort to diagnose what happened. Right now, it pretty much never happens, but on one of the houses I was working on, a window is leaking. And I sided it just like every other window I've done. I didn't do anything different. But for some reason, that one window is leaking. It's on a gable end. There's nothing above it. So my first guess right now is that top of the window has a J pocket, and I'm thinking that it was pretty dark when we sided it, and we didn't notice that probably when the framer framed it out, and he nailed that window, and he probably shot a nail in and cracked that J pocket all the way down to the corner. So now when it rains, any water that gets in there is going to get right through that crack inside on the inside window jamb, roll to the edges, and then down the wall. That's my first guess. I usually try to pick up on something like that, but like I said, it was pretty dark out, so might just not have noticed. Now what I'm doing is I'm going in playing with where the bottom of that soffit's going to be. Got 9 3/4. That's where it's going to get clipped on right there. I'll check this too. It looks like 9 1/2 back there, but we'll see. See where it ends up on the piece. 9 3/4, 9 1/2-ish. I'm gonna actually hook on to there and measure up that way. Actually, yeah, it does look like 9 1/2. Now somebody recommended this, and actually I said, you know what, that seems like a good idea to me. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it down that 1/2 inch about, and it's roughly right there. I'm going to scribe that, and I'm going to cut it a little big, and I'm going to bend a tab, that way there's never any hole up top there. Somebody mentioned doing this. I think this is what they meant, or maybe I improved on it. So right there. Oop, come on. And sometimes this really isn't going to work out because you might end up with it like on the rib, but where this one lands, it seems like it's going to work out mint. So okay, so that'll go behind the other piece. So now when you look up there, you won't see any gaps. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So I tried it out once and it worked out, and it looks like it's gonna work out really well this time too. So hey, I'm 38 years old. And I've done siding for whatever it was, 12 years or whatever. You're never too old to learn something new. Alright, what do we got? 8 1/2. And another thing that does is it gives me a little bit more room to play with up here. If my cut isn't so exact, it's still going to all be white underneath. Alright, I'm back, and let's see. Oh, I was saying about there being many different ways to do things. Now I got to be careful because whatever, I don't want to give the wrong advice, but there's commercial jobs where sometimes between what the architect says, the engineer, and the manufacturers of the products, like you got 3 different people telling you how you're supposed to install a certain product, and they don't always jive. So most of the time the engineers and architects are going to do something that's above and beyond what a manufacturer calls for, which is fine. And I actually like commercial jobs for that. Like somebody mentioned, oh, that I put staples so close to the bottom of the step flashing. Well, if you look, they're actually up about an inch and a quarter, maybe inch and a half even, and it's fine. But when you go to some commercial jobs, they'll have big, like 6-inch pieces of step flashing. They'll be 6 inches this way and 6 inches this way, and they'll say no nails, absolutely no fasteners anywhere up this wall in that area. And I think that's pretty nice. It gets, you know, make sure that those penetrations aren't down too low where it's going to ever cause a problem. This is the way residential work usually gets done, where you have staples further down. And like I said in my comment on that video, I've never even heard of it causing a problem. Oh, I'm getting caught on everything. All right, what's going on? There we go. Yep, looking good. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to do things. Definitely stick with what your manufacturer says. Myself, I guess I'm a little bit more of a risk taker. I'll go by the spirit of the law, not the letter. All right, what do we got? Yep, that's looking good. And again, just tracing along there, there. So it shows 4 places. Doot, doot, doot. In fact, though, with a lot of the residential jobs, actually, you know, with a lot of jobs, things get done wrong. Like, I've seen this detail left out so many times. And then, especially where you have a seam, sometimes, like this Tyvek right here, this row, runs up to here. I've seen them stop it short down here, and then the cider never did this. That's when you see this entire wall rot out. I give it about 15 years before it's like completely shot. And like I said, I can stick my chisel through a stud, like just pushing it by hand. It gets pretty bad. I went a little too far with that slit. Oops. that all that ruckus is about. So what I'm going to do is overbend that just a little bit. Overbend them both. That way it'll hold positive pressure on that little tab forever. Okay, what do we got? Did they? Yeah, they did. They didn't overlap. Okay. Okay. Good. You don't ever really want to force this stuff because you'll end up creasing it. If it feels like it's getting caught on something, chances are there's a nail or something behind the drip edge that's proud of the framing and it's holding your metal up. So a lot of times what I'll have to do is just get my chisel in there and kind of pry it out, and then I actually kind of roll this metal out to get it past that nail. Okay, that feels good there, but it looks like it's a little wrong right there. No, I think that looks good. Yeah, that's good. I like it. Woo. Yeah, it's getting dark out. It's getting a little chilly too. It's gonna be so today is Monday. And we had, I think it was 35 today. So not too bad. But come Friday, we have a high of 7. Or no, Saturday is a high of 7. And a low of -15. -15 for a low. I will not be working Saturday. I don't really like to install vinyl when it's below 10 degrees. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, my bro called. Alright, what do we got? Just gonna finish up this metal, and then tomorrow I'll be back and we'll run the siding up this. So I'm just gonna measure wherever, just up there somewhere. If I could, I would get it right on the very point where it's gonna go to, but as long as I'm long, I'm pretty good then, you know. So you got 71.5 is gonna be plenty long. 71.5. Oh, I brought 4 pieces. I mean 5. I meant to bring 4 only. Oh well. Okay. Hopefully it wants to stay. 71.5. Right there. making sure I'm hooked on the end of my tape and not on those rivets. The easiest way to not hook on those rivets is to just slide it until it goes just past the end. And then you know you're right on. Believe it or not, I've actually hooked these little things. And then you wonder why you measured an inch short or a half inch short. Alright, so we have an 8 pitch right there. Whoops, I'll go a little bit that way. And right there. I'm just making those 3 marks again. One there on the very top, and then one on the very bottom, and one on that strapping. And this is going to be my piece with the tabs, because the front is over there. I want to face the joint in the fascia metal even away from the front of the house. Yeah, I forgot to mention that we got a bunch of snow. Well, I did say that, and that weighed down all the branches on the trees, and a lot of the trees fell on the power lines, and we all lost power. And that was probably 5 or 6 days ago now. So I think if those are residential houses running generators, they've been running on generator power for the last about 6 days or so. And that the ice storm, I live in New England, so we had an ice storm in 2008 that knocked out my power for 11 days. There was people without power for longer than that even, but I was fortunate because I already had a generator for work, and I actually ended up wiring it directly into the breaker, which is not recommended because some people are not very smart and they backfeed the grid and end up killing the line workers. So they don't like it when you do that. They don't like it when you wire directly into your breaker panel. I had an electrician show me how to do it. Okay. I nailed the top of the other piece of metal when you guys weren't looking. I'm kind of sneaky like that. That one video I made, man, I didn't expect so many people to watch these things. So like I think back on the things that I've said and like embarrassed. And I don't even know what I say in half the videos, so it's just great. This is the part where Brandon says such and such. Oh goodness. Oh well. Okay. So there we go. We got this side done. And I'm going to be completely honest here. This side is going to really not be fun because it has that major bow in it. And what I could do to avoid oil canning is cut this metal into about 4 pieces. So that you'd see 4 joints heading up. And I just don't like that idea, so I'm gonna do what I usually do and just hope that we don't have very much oil canning. Sometimes it takes a little bit extra to get it to go in. Oh, okay. So here's a good example, guys. I think I gotta look up in there, and it's getting caught on something. Oh, right there. They put a staple, a hammer tacker staple, I think, on the outside there, and so my metal was catching on it. So I had to get it to the outside of that, and now we're good. And that's why I say, you know, it doesn't take a lot of pressure. It shouldn't take a lot of pressure, and if you're putting a lot of pressure on it, you want to make sure you're supporting it right there. If you're pushing there, that way the piece doesn't like buckle out and put a crease in it. Okay, there we go. So that's all the way up there. It's all the way up here, and there's going to be a little bit of a gap, I think, in the middle, just because the bow and that fascia. And once again, marking there, 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 and there. That was 4 places. I left a little much hanging down. It's all good. We got plenty. We got two 10-foot pieces to get up here. The ice storm of 08 was pretty crazy though. We had probably a ½ inch of ice on everything. All the trees came down right on the power lines. They didn't do a very good job of keeping them trimmed back. And like the whole state of New Hampshire, not the whole state, but a lot of the state was out of power. Ugh, okay. Go this way. And let's see, my son was born in 08, towards the end, so I don't think he was any older than maybe a month or 2. Okay, we're gonna get caught on that staple again, so I gotta head up there and maneuver the piece back out to the outside of that staple. This might work. Nope. Okay. Where are you at? There it is. Okay, where is you again? There it is. There we go. Cement. Oh. Now if I crank up on the middle, that's going to start to try to bend the piece this way, and that will result in oil canning. So I'm going to try to let the middle float as much as I can while still being able to nail it and not have it too loose on that soffit. So I like to have the metal tight against the soffit as well. Okay. And this is about the middle. Now that I know I have the piece laying pretty flat, I can nail the face nail the end. And I'm not too concerned about oil canning at that point. Now if I nail this end first, if I nail here and think I have it all up pretty tight, and I nail there, and there, next thing I know I try to twist it up and it's actually like locked in place down here, and then it starts to wrinkle the piece. So I wanted to make sure that it was laying pretty close to where I wanted it, nice and flat, before face nailing that end. That nail on the roof is kind of bugging me. It is hot dipped. It's hot dip galvanized, so it'll last a lot better than a zinc coated or whatever. No, not that is zinc. Electro galvanized. All right, what do we got? 72.5 should be plenty long. 72.5. Right there. And now this one I just cut straight up at a 8 pitch because I have my overlaps on the other side. Right there. Now because the good piece or the good side is on the left and the scrap piece is on the right, I have to knife this one here. I'll have to do a score and snap on that. It's either that or I have to roll this side here. I gotta roll it all the way out, and it just chews this edge up right there, and you don't end up with a clean break. So you do the score and snap, just one nice clean score with a nice utility knife blade, nice fresh one, and then you can see how I got it snipped down and then up. And now I fold it away from that point there, because when I did that score, I made a divot. I made a divot in the metal like that, and I have a weak point now. So I'm going to fold it down and down. I don't want to go the other way. If I go up, it's going to close up that little gap right there, and it's still going to have too much strength. It's going to end up like creasing it over here or elsewhere. So you can see how that just opens right up. And now a couple more little twists and it breaks right free. You can see that's a pretty clean cut. We're gonna go right up tight against the other one, and we'll let our little tabs cover up any little gaps. That thing actually slid right in. Wow. Whoop. Apparently it slides right out too, so there you go. All right. So tomorrow I'll be back and we'll run all the siding up. Kind of running out of daylight. My picture is probably getting a little grainy. A little tiny hole right there. There we go. Looks a little better. And I don't want to put my nail right in there because they have a split in their cut right there. So I like to go, oh man, I like to go about 1.5 inches over, just so I'm sure I'm not gonna hit that joint in the wood. Oh, wrong nail. Oh, don't hit the metal. That's why I try to not hit the thing so hard, because if you miss, you'll put a ding in the metal. And that just does not look good. There we go. Okay, and so as always, I like to put a face nail on the joint. That way the wind can't get in there and wiggle it. You don't have to pound them super tight, you just go snug. You pound it super tight, then it starts to dimple the metal in. Alright, well that's it guys. I'll be back tomorrow to finish this thing up. We'll run the siding off. I guess I'll show you how I set up my saw, because all these pieces should stay relatively the same going all the way up. I'll show you how I set up the saw to cut all of those at one time. And then also I'll show you how to get the siding underneath there. It kind of ends up in a not that great of a spot on the siding. Ends up right at the top. But you'll see. I mean, I can show you right now. It's 16 inches about to right there. So, I mean, it works out okay, but it's a little bit not as great as if it landed like right here. Then you can just bring that thing out on top of the siding on a flat spot where it's closer to the wall. So anyways, until tomorrow, see ya. All right, we are back. It's Taco Tuesday. So today we're gonna get this thing all the way sided up. You can still see that little bit of a bow in the metal there, following the framing. That hole is going to be just fine. It's not going to affect anything. Just won't be all nail out there, but who knows, the nail fin might be up there anyways. Alright, so hopefully these ones are already cut to length. I think they were. Maybe? Nope. Too short. Not going to work there either. It might work up there. No, it won't, because that'll have to be 8 inches higher. And it barely hits that way. Okay. So that one doesn't work. And that one doesn't work. This one's got a crack in it, but I can cut that out. Okay. And I'll just use the edge to, as kind of a guide. Looking good. I was saying yesterday that I gotta remember to shut off the compressor, and I didn't do that. I forgot. So luckily I didn't spring any leaks in the hoses. It's a little bit tight. The top right there is a little bit tighter than the bottom. Pretty cold out, so this stuff's gonna have to be all move. Yeah, I like it. Little piece doesn't expand quite as much as a big piece. And I'll just do hand nail out there. Whoops. Don't hit my fingers. It would hurt right now. I hand nailed that because it'd be hard to get the staple gun on there. Alright, so this one's got to go all the way from inside there to this outer edge here. So this one is the tricky piece. But it's just a matter of finding the points. I know that the length here is going to be 1 point there and 1 point there, and then the height there. Once I have those, I can run it out to there, and I already know this is a 56-degree angle going up this way. So it's just about finding those points. So this right here, we can do 30 3/8. And the other thing is I can go a little bit long. You're better off going a little long, and then maybe I have to trim it. So I go all the way to the longest point there. I don't want to quite go that far. I'll go 13 3/4. That should be about right. So I'm adding 13 3/4 to the 30 3/8. The reason why I didn't want to go all the way tight is because this cut here is going to be up a little bit, so it's going to hit right there a little sooner than down at the bottom. Okay, so then up, I'll go 3 inches. I'll leave a little bit of room, just like I was saying. That's going up, and that's gonna add on to that. So I got those. That's all I need, because I'm now at the 13 3/4. So that's coming up at a 56-degree angle, going that way. So it's going like that. Over here, I want to measure this one pretty tight because it's going to slide over. So I allowed room in the other side. we got 11 inches. So 11 inches back. And I know this jog is 3/4. That's 3/4. And then from that 3/4, I'm going to measure this one pretty tight too. 1.5 inches. So from that 3/4, it's another 1.5 inches back. And now I need 1, 2, 3, 4 heights. 2 1/8. Yeah, 2 1/8 will work for the first one. And 5 3/8. And then right to that point there, 6 7/8. And then I want to go right to this point, and it should be right about 8 inches. So all I'm going to do is cut off that top clip and everything and allow this to go over that. I know it looks like a bunch of gibberish. I'll actually draw it out so you guys can see exactly what the piece is going to look like. And it actually helps me out too when I go to mark it out. You probably noticed I checked both sides of that just to make sure it didn't taper. So this side looks like that. Okay, now this side over here goes like this. It goes up and then over 3/4, up a little bit, back at an angle, and then it would go back up, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to cut it like this way. So we'll get rid of that. And 2 1/8 is right here. 5 3/8 is the next one. That's that point right there. 6 7/8 is this point here. And then we know 8 inches is this point right there. Okay, and we're coming back 11 from there, so that goes from there to there. This is 3/4, that little jog, and then so I guess that's up to that point. And then it's 1.5 inches from there to there. That's coming back. I don't have enough space to really draw it out. Okay, and now we had this measurement was 30 3/8 from there to there. Then we're adding 13 3/4 from there to there. We're 3 inches up from there to there. And then this is a 56-degree angle. So that's all we need to get this piece laid out. There is like little jigs that people buy so they can just quickly match those profiles, but this is how I've just done it for years, and it's one less tool that I have to carry with me once you get used to doing it this way. Not so bad. There's that lunchtime alarm. Make sure this thing is in good shape. There must be a factory around here or something. Every day at noon that alarm goes. a good edge to measure off of. And that clip is just ever so much longer than the face, and I don't want that. Ooh, okay. A little chilly. Fingers are getting cold. Okay, we have 30 and 3/8. First I want to make sure this thing's long enough. 30 and 3/8. And then we have 13 and 3/4 from there. And then that was 3 inches up. That's getting our end like that. I'll square that up to where they intersect. And that's our 56. I think it's actually 56.25. Yeah. So it's actually a little bit strong on 56. But I don't really worry about the 2.5 because it's just fractions of a degree. Okay, so we have 11 inches back. That's our first one. And we'll get our 2 1/8 up. Now I want to square this one up to the 5 3/8. That's where it jogs over 3/4. 5 3/8 right there. And I know that's coming back 3/4. Right there. Six and 7/8, so that's 2 7/8. That's 6 and 7/8 from there. And then now at the 8-inch high, which is on the bottom of this, we're coming over 1.5 inches. So little. This is our 8-inch mark here, and it just goes up at an angle, and then I'll just go straight up with that, and I'm gonna cut this thing out to back there so that little kick out piece can go over the siding. I think this might have actually cracked the wrong way. Well, it's looking good. Now, hopefully I cut this at the right spot here. But if anything, it might be a little long. So I'd rather trim that than cut it too short. And like I said, I'm going to cut out this clip and allow that thing to run over top. This is actually going to shed the water then. Even if it kind of collects in the J pocket of the, or in the clip of the next piece, it can still weep out. There's our piece. It's a thing of beauty. Let's see how we did. I can kind of hold it on the outside before I try to get it in that J channel everywhere, just to kind of verify that it's right. And it looks like already this is going to be a little bit tight right there. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and trim it just a little bit. Getting hooked on. There we go. And we're going underneath that. There we go. Ooh, still a little bit tight. Not able to move at all. This side's got room. So mostly, actually not, it's right tight right there. And if I cut that out, it'll allow it to come away from there, because it's pretty tight on all those points. And be so careful with these things you don't end up cracking up your J channel when you try taking it out again. Okay. Oh, it did crack right there. Thought it felt like it did. Thought I heard it. So it's going to give us a 1/4 inch to grow. Other thing that happens is it gets easier to put in the shorter it gets. Come on. There we are. Okay, whoops. There we go. I like it. Nail it. Okay. Now I can check that this is running level. It's not. Gotta get adjusted a little bit and make sure I'm still on that line to the bottom of that clip. Yep, right on at 8. Okay, there we go. Okay, now what I can do, actually I'm going to show you guys a trick that I could have used. Instead of measuring up, leveling over, measuring up, leveling over, doing that all the way up, what I could have done, okay, and this takes a little bit of math, and it takes a house that's actually built like it's supposed to be, which, I mean, you can fast forward this part if you want, because it might not be quite what you want to do. But if you know you have an 8 pitch, what I can do is I'm going to actually go to I'm going to adjust my fractional resolution all the way down to a 64th. That way it doesn't mess up. Actually, I don't think I have to do that, but I will, just for the sake of it. Okay, so I know my rise is 8 inches on each piece. 8-inch rise, and I know that I have an 8-inch pitch. That's a 8/12. For every 12 inches, well, what is it? For every 8 inches of rise, it goes over 12 inches of horizontal, or run is what they call it. Run is horizontal, rise is up and down. So for every 8 inches of rise, we have 12 inches. So, but we know this is an 8 pitch or a 56.25 degree angle. So you have an 8-inch pitch. This is how the calculator figures it out. And we could do the diagonal. And then we could figure out how many pieces we need going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Say 9 pieces. We could do times 9. And now what I could do is I could get a set nail exactly right there, or even say an inch down perpendicular to this, or 3 inches down perpendicular to that, and then put a set nail, and I can measure up 129 inches diagonally, and then 3 inches down perpendicular again from that J, and make a cross, and that would get me my height for that piece once I'm up there. Or I could do, or I could say just times, I could do the 8-inch pitch, 8-inch rise, and then say diagonal, and then do times 2, and I can make a mark every 28 and 27 30 seconds going up that way, so I wouldn't have to fumble around with my level so much. And that really only works if you know your pitch is what it's supposed to be. That is another way to tackle that, and it could be a little easier. It could be another way to double check that. Okay, so what we're going to do here now is we already have this step flashing coming down, and we already have that, our little kick out piece, and I'm going to go ahead and actually fix that in place with a nail. That way it can't slide out. It's going to stay right where it's at. Okay. So that's getting all that water that's running down this step flashing all the way down, is continuing on top of that little kick out piece, and it's going to drain right down the siding. It's going to make a track. It might get mildewy. That can be cleaned. That's the way I like to do that. You can see definitely some wiggles in this, and I wish that I could take care of that, but I would never get paid to straighten that out. So anyways, we're gonna get this first piece cut here, and I'm gonna get all these cut on the saw. I'll show you how I go about doing that too. Right there, I'm eyeballing in plane with the bottom of that J, with the bottom of this clip here. So it goes there, and every time I adjust the left side, I need to adjust the right because it's going to change the angle a little bit. So you have 22 1/4, should leave enough room to wiggle around, and that's just angled at a 56 on both sides. That's from long point to the short point. $22 1/4, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 pieces. What I'll do is I'm going to get one cut, just test fit it, make sure it's still got room to grow. I'll probably cut 3 more, test fit them. There's a little bit of wiggles in the J, so I might have to grow it or shrink it a little bit. First one I'll cut by hand. All the rest I'll cut on the saw. All right, I am here at my stand, my saw, and this is the Tapco, I don't know, Pro thing. I forget what it's called. I have it put in my description of some of the videos. Not really necessarily getting paid to advertise this thing, unless you follow through on Amazon. Anyways, so right here it has these, all these 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if I put it on the 8, this one right here, that gets me an 8 pitch, or it's pretty close. I found that it's actually a little bit off, but so I just swing this over until it hits there. Make sure it hits there and it's not hitting back there, and then lock this thing in place. I used to have a bigger handle, but somehow it got snapped off. And this slides in, and then that also slides in. And then same thing here. This I just slide over until it just bumps into it. You don't want to force it because you might swing it back and get the wrong angle. So now these things I can actually kind of cheat this way a little bit, each piece on the top, because I'm cutting at that kind of an angle, and it just works out. So all right, so that's how I want to do that. I got 5 pieces here. I'm gonna give it a whirl, and you can mute this or whatever if you want. It might be kind of loud. Doesn't seem like it's so bad though. So what I'm gonna do, actually don't mute it yet, come back. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold even pressure down and try to stop them from sliding, bunching up. And so I'm gonna hold down and then twist a little bit this way to counteract what the blade's doing. Okay, well that wasn't annoying at all. Alright, so now I'm actually going to check this angle. Hopefully I'm right on. We shall see. We're closer to a 57 actually, it looks like. It's probably going to be okay, but I'm going to make a slight adjustment. So I just got to back these up a little bit and then kind of give it a little bump. I just got to keep an eye on this right here. That'll probably do the trick. Now this is quite nice when you're cutting a lot of angled pieces. Okay, so we had 22 inches, so it was a little shy on 22. We'll go with 22 just because the angle is a little messed up, and if I have to trim them then I can. And we want all of these to be in plane right here. And I'm gonna have to change my batteries, so I'm gonna pause it for a second. Looks like right about there. So that's gonna cut them all the same length. BRB. All right, I'm back and got some newer batteries. And again, same thing here. I'm making sure that left side of the blade is right on that mark. And I'm gonna try hold these and keep my fingers clear of the blade too. All right, so that's looking good. Just holding even pressure on all of them. Okay, so there we have it. We got 5 pieces cut. These ones are all scrap. And we'll see how we did. If you have a rake, like where the pieces get bigger, if you know how much they get bigger by, you can actually use a saw and just stagger the pieces right on the saw and cut them all at once. That's a little tricky to do, but I've done it that way. That looks really good. See how we're doing. It's pretty easy, since there's not a lot of integrity on this point, to start pulling those up. So you really need to be cautious about that. And I've mentioned that a few times in different videos, but that's where a lot of people go wrong, is pulling up too hard on it. So more on the left side, and just kind of let that right side just lay. It's already heading uphill. It's hugging that line there. And we'll see how we're doing on that line. Should be a little high. Yep, we're already at 7 3/4. So we want to let that settle down. Okay. Hopefully that got us a little closer. Yeah, 7 7/8. So we're going to try to correct that as we go. That's why it's important to get quite a few marks coming up. So we can make those micro adjustments. There goes my gun. Okay. This one's a little bit tight. So we'll go ahead and trim it. Or not. I think it's break time. I'm dropping everything. Alright. For you guys, I'll be back in 2 seconds. For me, I'll be back in an hour. It's kind of like a line from Avengers Endgame. Kind of weird. Anyways, yeah. BRB. Luckily it doesn't look like the gun hit anything. Didn't crack the siding. Alright. Okie dokie. Back at it. So, like I was saying before, this is such a thing that's done by feel. I have this piece clipped in, and I just look and see when it starts to tip down. See right there, it started to tip down just a little bit, and I can feel it too. And I can feel when it contacts over here. It's a very subtle thing. So it almost takes some practice to get the hang of that. And it looks like we're heading nice and level, so that's good. So what I wanted to do right there is center that piece in the J channel on both sides. And it might wiggle back and forth. It might bump into the J on one side or the other, but it's not going to go anywhere too drastic. So same thing, just feeling it, and I'm not really pulling up on it at all, just letting it lay there, especially since they got to go down a smidge. I don't want to go too crazy and let it rest down too much where it's going to start coming unclipped. I let that tip down just a little bit too much, so it's actually tipping down. You actually do get quite a bit of adjustment in these. Alright, so we're almost right on right there. And these things kind of dirty. I'll have to clean them up later. Easy enough to hit it with a rag. Alright. Easier to just get it all at once. So a lot of times you might not see me wipe stuff down, but I come through later. So it looks like we're getting a little bit more room. I think this is where that roof starts to dip back down. That's why I don't like to cut everything all at once. Alright, so that actually, I didn't even really pull up on it, and it's tipping back up. That's where you constantly fight on these kind of pieces, is they just want to just keep going up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 more pieces, and 22 is starting to get a little bit small. So I'm gonna shut this off. I'm gonna cut those, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Everything on the other side is just a mirror image of this side, and I'll be doing small adjustments as I go. And I'll just come back when I'm at the peak then. Okay, so this side works out a little bit different. I have this piece cut in already. And right there you can see this clip actually is considerably lower than this point here. So I'm actually going to cut this into a full piece. I'm going to cut over there, back over, and then back up. So I'm going to make like a little V kind of in it. 23 3/4 is this measurement on the bottom. And I'm going to make a little notch for this to go underneath the siding. and then it comes up. I'm gonna scribble these out so I don't get confused here. To that point there, 1.1 up. That's that way, and we'll just kind of angle the tape here and go up in there somewhere. I want to be right in that midpoint of that angled cut there. So 22.5 should be plenty long. And then we know we have an 8 pitch here. One thing that I didn't mention before is that, like, with these little kick out pieces, also, like, on that side right there, we have water running down the wall. It's going to collect in that J pocket, and any water in that J channel is also going to get deflected out by this little piece here. So it works to get all of that water from the inside of the siding to the outer face of it. So I'm gonna cut this piece and I'll show you, actually I'll bring you along for that. Got 23 3/4, 22.5. 23 3/4, 22.5. It comes back 1.25 inches. 23 3/4. This piece is not long enough. Nope. So we had 23 3/4, 22.5, and that was a 1.1 up. So, like I said, we're making a slight V in this piece, and we'll make a little bit of a flat spot right there. And 56 degrees. I'll probably switch that saw around so it's cutting the opposite way. I could flip the piece over. I might give that a whirl. I think I'm just a creature of habit. I like to cut from the face. Because when you do carpentry, that's where all the back side of the cut always looks worse than the face. It's where the saw blade is doing more ripping. Okay, and I'm gonna have to cut this bottom out. I'm not really sure how much, so I'm gonna wait until I go to put it up. I don't think I want to go that way. Okay. Let's see if it's close to the other side. It's only 2 inches different. 20 1/4. Okay. Looking pretty good. And Actually, good thing I didn't cut it out, because it didn't have to go as far as I was thinking I would cut it. Ooh, it cracked, but it only cracked to where I cut it. Now it's probably gonna funnel the water a little bit onto this bottom clip, the way that is. But that'll be okay, because it'll run out eventually. It'll either come out these weep holes or come out down there, collect in the J, run down there. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And most of it's actually going to come out right down here. I didn't nail this one, but it can only slide down so far before it's going to get contact. Okay. Oops, wrong side. All right. So we had 20 and a quarter, and feeling in there, take a look-see. Yeah, that's pretty good. Could go a little bit that way, but I have to be so careful I don't hit that J channel. There we go. A little bit more up in there. That piece could have been a little bigger. There we go. It's not going to move too far one way or the other now. Not supposed to do that, but head and level. And so I'm going to want to go probably 21. I think will be pretty good. Alright, so I'll be back when I'm at the top. Oh, that thing doesn't want to stay. Okay. I once again changed my mind. I wanted to show you guys what I was talking about. I staggered these this way because the saw, it cuts at that angle, so. And I'm going to cut from the back side. We'll see how it turns out. It's going to get noisy, so block your ears. Okay, so you see how, again, they're all lined up there, measuring from the long point. And I'm cutting from the back rather than swinging this the other way. Cutting from the back will just switch the angle around for me. So, that's it. Another thing I didn't mention is when I'm cutting this, you know, I'm stabilizing it with my hand, you know, holding even pressure, but I'm also just letting the blade do the work. I'm not forcing the blade through the siding. You want to just go nice and even, and when you feel it start to bind and the saw starts to slow down, just maybe twist it a little bit more with your hand, and you just let the blade just feed through. It might slow down for a second, but you won't start chipping pieces or have the siding hopping up and down. So block your ears. There we go. That's the rest that we need. That should get me up to the peak. Alright, we're almost at the peak here. So, figured I'd turn this back on and say that the good and bad thing about these pieces is they go up and down a lot depending on how you're installing them. You can really stretch them out and you can really shrink them. So right there, actually that's a prime example. I'm at 7.5 and I think I did that in about 3 pieces. I actually need to back that down a little bit. I started out a 1/4 inch too low, and now I'm a 1/2 inch too high. So it's just been steadily going like that. And the good thing about these is because of the way it's clipped in, a slight tip this way is actually going to bring that end down. If you go down an 1/8 inch here, it's going to bring the end down 1/4. So even the slightest adjustment is going to have a lot of corrective action. So it's good and bad because you can end up way off. And well, the advantage is you can just go like that and get it right back to where it's supposed to be. And again, you always want to check down here that you're not coming unclipped. I'm actually a little bit down further than I would like to be, but I don't think there's ever any risk of that coming unclipped. So now, right there, just in those 2 pieces, I got it right back. I should check this to see if it's heading level as well. I haven't really been checking that. Okay, so that back side needs to come down a little bit. So the next one, with the next one I'll have it. And now, I mean, this is all so it can match up over this peak. And it's just kind of crazy the amount of work that it can be to ensure that you meet up just so, because you want to be within an 1/8 inch of each other coming over this peak here. And is this one so critical? Not really, but there are areas where it's more critical, so you want to know how to get them to match up. So we're at 7 7/8, a little bit shy even. And I think it had to, so this whole thing's got to go down a bit. So what I'll do is I'll put my staple again at the bottom of that hole and then let it drop down so it hits, and I think that's gonna get it right there. There's enough staples in that one. What, dropping tools, I think. Okay, 8 inches, right on. Okay, so we know we had 22 1/4. I forget what the other side was. We had 21. Okay. 21 even on this side. 21 or is it 12? It's upside down. Okay. Now, because this is on this, I can actually kind of do this backwards than I usually do. I'll go to both the short points. I got 27. I want to make sure it's right on there. 27 3/4. 27 3/4. And it's a good way to double check this kind of. It's kind of hard to get my tape on this. Alright, so we had 21 1/2 maybe. Alright, so we got 21 1/2, 21, and then we have 27 3/4 on the top, and we're cutting this piece like this. Okay, so now I can measure down to there. We know that's from the clip, so 6 1/4 is going to leave it up a little bit. So now that's 6 1/4, and then I can measure here 3 1/2. I want to leave a little bit of room on either side, so 3 1/2 I think is going to be pretty good. This is 3 1/2 from the inside point there. Okay, so those are all the measurements I need, and I already know that this is a 56-degree angle. Did I drop anything? Yep, I did. Thought I heard something fall. I don't know why these things are jumping out of my bags. They don't usually do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and just take the chance that this 27 3/4 is correct, and I'll cut the remaining 2 pieces to finish that up. So I'm gonna get all my pieces right now. $27 3/4. It's gonna get noisy. Block your ears. Okay. Well, this is not the best way to do it, but I'll do it this way anyways. You know what? I'm gonna snip it. That's a little quieter for you guys. A little bit quieter. Snips don't make much noise. 27 3/4. Again, that was right on this clip here I measured. So I was 8 inches up from the last piece. And I could actually use a scrap. Might as well. These angles are supposed to be right. Alright. And I'll just snip this guy right off square for now. Alright, so we had 21 and 21 1/2. So I have a few different measurements here, and what that's going to do is it's going to give me a little bit of redundancy. So if If it seems a little off, I can just make a small adjustment and probably all the directions or whatever way I kind of feel like doing. So I have 6 1/4, and we know that we want 3 1/2 in this inner point here, but according to the other measurements, this is supposed to work out like this and give us 3 1/2 at that 56-degree angle like that. So this is the redundancy. We're at 3 5/8, so that should work out just fine. Oof, I hear it cracking. I might have cracked on the good part, but it's a pretty small crack. Yeah, right there. I'm not too concerned about that. And again, just getting rid of part of that clip there, because with the J channel running down like this, you're not going to get your zip tool on it all the way over there. Technically you only have to do that on one side, because you can spin it into place. You know, I'll take the piece over the ridge and go like that, and I'll get this clipped in. But I don't know, I just like to do that on both sides. Okay, 27 3/4. And once again, I'm going to use a saw, so block your ears. I'll block my ears too. All right, so 27 3/4 minus 24, so it should be 3 3/4. Yeah, that's the last piece, little tiny piece. I got a phone call, so all right, here we go, the moment of truth. See if I know what I'm doing. So, just like I said, I kind of tip it down on this side, get it in the J channel, and there it goes. And if I left enough room, I won't have to use my zip tool. Nice. A lot of times you gotta use the zip tool right here just to get that going. The angle then helps you out towards the end. And I just need to make sure it's not coming out of the J here or there or here or there. And that's all good. Oh man, first try. Woohoo! And look at how flat it is. Like, it's not bunching up at all. It's up tight in both those clips. And this is that right there is the money piece, because I've seen a lot of people come over here and up there, and like I said, it'll end up an inch off, and they just let it go. I mean, you could rip the top clip off and take a piece of starter strip and put it down. That's just terrible. It's just a complete hack job in my opinion. So I don't do that. It might take me a little longer because it takes some planning out, but this is the correct way to get this done. And it is a pretty tricky situation, like I've said. So, nail this guy home. Make sure it can't sink down and come out of place. Those, my crimper tool just likes to fall out for some reason today and yesterday. All right, so right there, we're looking good. I have a little tiny piece for that peak, but the clip looks the same, and you know, adding this little piece on right here is really not going to accomplish much for me. So, well, now, yeah, there you go. So I'm just going to leave that right off. I'm going to center it in there, and some people might glue this on. I don't like glue. I don't like relying on glue or sticky things to accomplish things. So I'm gonna run with a nail. Only downside is now you can see a nail there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, or lady and gentlemen probably. That's that. It's a work of art, kind of like Picasso. A little bit more crooked and stuff than I'd like. It's interpretive art. But, I mean, I guess it's alright. I can only do so much. Mythbusters did a good job of polishing a turd. But I only got so many options here. Alright, well, I think that's it. I don't really have much to add. If you wanna, if there's anything you guys wanna see, just let me know, comment, and I'll see if I can get a job doing that specific thing. I think I'm gonna be gearing up more towards homeowner stuff, remodel stuff. I think that a lot of people would like to see that. People have asked how to cap windows and different metal tricks and stuff, so I'll go ahead and start looking for those kind of jobs. My days of doing full houses with siding, at least new construction, I think my days of doing that are over. I don't like going up 36 feet anymore. That gable end on the other side of the house is quite high up, and I get really uncomfortable now. So maybe be on to some smaller jobs. Stuff that, like I said, your everyday homeowner might want to try to tackle. So that's that. Until next time. See ya. Figured I'd make some bonus footage for you guys. Just for the heck of it. Clean up some things. And maybe just chit chat a little bit. It's pretty weird when you look at a video and you have like, there's a video that took me 2 hours to make, and then there's like 400 hours watched on it. It's a really weird feeling for me. Like, I don't know anybody, I don't know any of you, but it's pretty neat, pretty cool. And I can see the analytics too. I can see the region people are watching in, age groups, and it depends on your privacy settings. But you can see just general information. Some people in Canada, so hi to you guys in Canada. And actually I'll save this one. That can be another soffit catcher. I got 2. Now I can cut that off right there, and then it'll be the same thing as this other one. That's what I was talking about before. I don't know if I'll post that one. And it actually kind of gets kind of hard to remember what I even said at this point. Yeah, we'll save this one to use later. Yeah, I guess I'll just keep going with that. Where people are watching from. Well, I don't see much for... There's been a couple females that watch. Mostly it's men. A lot of senior citizens. Pretty cool. Pretty neat to see what the demographics are. For a while it was taking right off. I was gaining 25 subscribers a day or so, and then I can see the reach, how many impressions, how many times my video popped up in front of people. And it was when YouTube was really giving me a lot of impressions. One of my videos has about, I don't even know, 200,000 impressions in over a short period of time, maybe a week. And it did quite well for that while. You can see the click-through rate, how many people click through on it when they're scrolling past it. And then you can see the average view duration. I don't know what the industry average is, but you know, some of my videos have about a 13% or 30% No, I think it's about 15% audience retention. So people stick around and watch the whole thing. Maybe I lulled them to sleep. I've been told I have a monotone voice. I'm okay with that. I'm too old to change now. I probably won't ever not have a monotone voice. Oop. Oh, except for when I sing. I was singing at church for a while. It was good. And, oh, yeah, singing. I'll keep going on that one now for a while. I did vocal lessons for about a year, and it definitely helped me sing. And it's something that I've enjoyed. My whole life I've been I was terrible at it. Terrible singer for many years. But I've gotten a lot better, and the vocal lessons helped a ton. So if you guys like singing and you want to be better at it, even if you think you're pretty good, oh goodness, that thing's frozen up. I highly recommend going to vocal lessons. You're never too old to start, too. Some of you people, some of you viewers are probably in your 60s, 70s, and hey, why not? Go do it. That's always been my attitude. Oh, I'm gonna chase that thing all the way down to the bedrock. There we go. Yeah, no, you can feel quite foolish when you're trying to sing I forget what they're even called. The do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, I think. Yeah. The do, re, mi's, and you miss a note. And my music teacher was, she is awesome. She is very, very encouraging. And if I missed a note, she'd say, nope, that was wrong. Let's try again. And it's such a personal thing. It's just hard not to feel like a complete idiot, a complete failure. But we just really forget what that's like. When you're a kid, you fall down all the time. You get up, everybody's clapping for you. You're an adult, you wipe out, and it just seems like everybody wants to point fingers and laugh. And it's pretty sad, really. We shouldn't be like that. We should always encourage each other. But you never know what you're capable of. Any art form, singing, you know, painting, it's a skill. Some people have an easier time with it, but some people seem to be just born with the ability. There's people that have what they call perfect pitch, but that doesn't mean that other people haven't worked for it. People that have made it in the businesses. There's been plenty of people who worked hard to get to where they're at. And even if you're gifted at something, as they say, it still takes time to develop that gift. So, do not climb on back. Okay. So yeah, definitely, no matter your age, I recommend, if you like to sing, just go to lessons. It's fun, especially once you start hitting those notes. It's a lot more fun. And you eventually start not feeling like a failure all the time. That piece is toast. My music teacher, because I started when I was 30, was I probably 34 or 35? And I asked her if I was the oldest student she ever had. And she said she had a student in her 80s. She said, no. We can learn at any age. So. Go do it. And it doesn't have to be singing either. It can be anything. I don't care. Rock climbing, parachuting. If you're interested in something and you enjoy it, then go for it. Go do it. All right, that's it. I'm done. I'm all picked up. Peace out. There.